All right, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for my tardiness. Once again, I am Latino, but I promise you I'll work on this timing, all right? So we will start today with introductions to my left.
Brittany Norris for the administration and from the beaches.
Colleen Hampsey, Council Research.
Mary Stefopoulos, Office of General Counsel.
Philip Peterson, Councilor's Office.
Kim Taylor, Council Auditor.
Good morning, Rory Diamond, District 13, the beaches, afternoon.
Ron Salem, Group 2 at large.
Good afternoon, Nick Howland, at large, Group 3.
Raul Arias, District 11.
Joe Carlucci, District 5.
Will Lannon, District 3.
Jacoby Pittman, District 10.
Randy White, District 12, just visiting.
Good afternoon, Rockman Johnson, District 14, just visiting. Diamond, good to see you back.
Reggie Gaffney Jr., District 8, just visiting.
Okay, well, thank you all, and thank you for joining us. We will, first of all, start off today's August 5th Finance Committee meeting, and we have two presentations. I know one of them will be from the auditors, and the second one would be from Mr. Carlucci. I think last time we talked about the related project. Do we have somebody from the related group here today to present on this part? Sure. If not, then we won't do that presentation, and we'll only have one presentation today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to give you an update for your budget hearing on Thursday, the chair asked that we pass out a handout on the community benefits agreement so that you had an idea of 24-25 numbers, 25-26. And I will just caveat that as we find things, because they're somewhat sprinkled throughout the budget, so we will certainly add to the chart. And we defer to council to say whether you agree or not. We would rather have it on there. And if you think it meets the categories, great. But if you disagree, we're happy to pull it off. But we wanted to give you an idea. For sure, within the budget, Thursday morning, you will see $2 million for countywide and $4 million for East Side. That's in your non-departmental, your citywide budget. So that'll be taken up the first day. There are other items, and I'll go to the last page, really, because you've seen the history. You've got it in here on the numbers that historically have counted. But the last page has the proposed budget. And you'll see the minimums are in addition to these items listed here. You have a total of $19.4 million that potentially could count. There are no additional East Side dedicated dollars that we see at this point. So anything that we see we feel meets the general categories for countywide, which are your, we can get back to this, it's your affordable housing, workforce housing, homelessness, and workforce development. So those four categories, certainly if you see something as we go through the hearings that you think can count, we can add that as well. But that gives you an idea of where you may be able to do, take into account various items on the level of funding that you want to do, keeping in mind your minimum requirements are, again, the $2 million for countywide and $4 million for East Side. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I do have Mr. Salem on the queue.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Taylor, the $1 million that's in the budget times 14 for the individual city councilman, my recollection, and it's in there is in the CIP, my recollection of the ordinance that was passed was that would be in operational dollars and not in the CIP. Can you comment on that?
Through the chair to Councilmember Salem, you're absolutely correct. The language was changed by council to allow it to be more open-ended. We anticipated seeing PAYGO or cash dollars for that to allow the council member that flexibility, but they are all funded with debt at this in the proposed budget in the CIP, so it does place that restriction.
Has anyone raised that issue to the administration, why they did it that way?
Yes, sir, we did ask about it through the chair. It was their understanding that that was the intention, was for capital projects. So we can certainly bring them up during the hearing, but according to our look at the updated language, that was the original intention potentially, but then that was updated by council to make it more open-ended.
So that essentially puts us $14 million in the hole from before we even start the budget process because of a mistake they made.
Through the chair, and I will say, open to conversation on some council members may be happy with and plan to do capital, others may not. So somewhere in that 0 to 14 million range, certainly if you need those dollars, it could create that hole.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I more have a comment related to the community benefits agreement. I just wanted to note, based on the proposed budget that was presented to us in mid-July, the Lane and Howland protection agreement on the amendment rather on the CBA did not trigger this year. Recall that protection agreement was intended to protect taxpayers from government spending money it doesn't have. This year we had significantly higher revenue collections than we anticipated we were going to have when we created that amendment last year. So, in fact, we'll be looking very closely at how that additional revenue is being spent in the next coming days. But just wanted to get on record that the Lane and Howland protection amendment was not triggered. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lenin.
Thank you, Chair. And Councilman Howland, thank you for recognizing the proper sequence of the Lane and Howland Protection Amendment. First off, to Councilmember Salem, I actually raised the point on the CBA funding of the $14 million, and I think it's going to be right for some, wrong for others. Like for mine, I am looking at something that'll be on the capital side. For others, I think it's going to be programmatic. So I think as we go through the budget process, every council member probably needs to say, this is what I'm thinking, so we can at least budget it correctly going forward. But just one thing on the last page, so countywide tracking. So my understanding of what we found so far in the proposed budget, there's $19 million, a little more than that meets the intent of the community benefits agreement. And I think contractually, only $2.5 million per year is required of the countywide. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you for saying that. I wanted to correct that. It's 2.5, not 2. I had stated 2 million. Thank you for catching that.
Okay, so through the, thank you, Ms. Taylor, and through the chair to the committee. So we've identified a little bit more than 2.5, so I'm sure that's going to be part of the discussion as we get into everything here, because we got 19 million in year one, essentially, of the CBA that meets the requirement.
Thank you, sir. Regarding Mr. Salem's question regarding the CIP, and I agree, this is quite disturbing because honestly, we've had the administration at every meeting that we've had, and that was definitely discussed because it will be for not just COP projects, but also operational dollars used. So I think the best course of action will be that, like you mentioned, Mr. Lenin, either we send a one-way communication prior to the budget where all council members could let us know, hey, I would like to split it 50-50, or I would like to offer it to be CIP or offer it to be operational. But I think having that one-way communication prior to the budget hearing, so that way at least we're prepared with those results, rather than having the conversation at the actual budget hearing that day. So, Kim, is that something that we could do, just send a one-way?
To the chair, so what I would recommend is that myself and Ms. Taylor can coordinate that effort, and so that way, instead of the potential for a response communication, we collect the responses from the council members, and then we can compile that information and provide that to the committee when you're considering the budget. So we handle a lot of things in that regard, especially during the budget season, just to make sure we have a way to kind of compile it and get it to you in a way that's easy to read and work through without having to go through a bunch of emails individually.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Okay, before we go to the next presentation, in the conversation on the budget, we already had a pre-agenda meeting yesterday for meeting number 1 and number 2. So all of you guys should already have in your emails those packets. Any of you haven't, obviously just ask for them. But it's a lot of information there, especially day number 1. So be prepared and just come ready. That's all I got to say, because there's a lot to digest in that first meeting. Okay. All right. Mr. White, go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, I think Mary just answered the question. You will be getting with us, Mary, because I don't believe the CIP will work for me, and you'll reach out to us, or I'm asking you that I would like to.
Sure. Through the chair to Councilmember White. So yes, what I think what we'll do is I'll work with Kim and we'll prepare an email, one-way communication to the council members, but we will be the ones to request the responses back to just us, and then we can compile them to have that information available to the committee when the budget discussions commence.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, and that wraps up that part. Let's go on to the presentation on single source.
Good day, Mr. Chair, committee members. The report in front of you lists all the single source purchases for over $50,000 per Chapter 126 City Ordinance for the third quarter of FY25. This includes using agencies' justification for each of the backup in your packet. This quarter, there was a total of 17 single source purchase orders totaling a little over $2.1 million and one purchase order agreement totaling a little over $161,000. Of these 18 total single sources, 17 are for follow-up goods and services such as replacement parts, out of warranty, related or required maintenance services for products and equipment previously purchased by the city. There was one in which I would consider a unique. That's item 17 in your packet, KHA for $100,000. This concludes the report. Happy to answer any questions related to procurement or the process for procurement and single sources. However, I'll have to defer to the using agencies if there's any technical questions on the requirement.
Thank you. I have one council member, Mr. Lehman.
Thank you, Chair. This has absolutely nothing to do with single source contracts. Just wanted to publicly congratulate, for those of you that didn't know, Friday, Mr. Freeman was promoted after the U.S. Senate approved his promotion to a full captain in the United States Navy. So just want to congratulate you. Like us, you have a second job as well. So thank you for your service to our country and congratulations on making the rank of captain of the United States Navy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. No other people on the queue. We're good with the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we are going to go through the agenda right now, and I'm just going to go through all the line items before we actually take action. So number 1 will be deferred. Number 2 will be deferred. 3 deferred. 4 deferred. 5 deferred. 6 will be deferred. 7 will be deferred. Number 8, we're going to take an action, amend and move. Number 9 will be a deferral as well, even though it's not listed as a deferral. Number 10 will be a motion. Number 11, a motion. 12, a motion. 13, amend and move. 14, a rules amendment. 15, motion. 16, amend and move. 17, rules amendment.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to remind you, item number 15, I believe you intended to take up as second today.
Yes, I'm actually going to go through that at the end, all of these. But, I mean, so just before we start then, I guess, I will take up Mr. Councilmember Gaffney's ordinance here, 471 on page 12 first, then going on to Johnson's number 15, 17, and 18, all on page 8, 10, and 11. And then I do also have a request from Councilmember Salem, number 47. I'm actually going to take that one first, and then Mr. Gaffney's, and then Mr. Johnson's. But going back to the agenda, we are going now to, I think we're at 16 will be an amend and move, 17 will be a rules amendment, number 18 will be a substitute and move, and then a 19 will be a motion to move, and then deferrals, 20, 21 we defer, 22 a motion to move, 23 is a motion to move, and then second readings, but then we have our next one on page 25, number 41. We have 3 more in the back. Will be the emergency, yep, number 41. And then 42 will be an amendment move. And then we have 1 more in the back. Number 46 on page 29, an emergency as well. So, and 47, an emergency. So, and then the rest will be second readings. Okay, so let's go to number 47, page 29. I have a motion and a second on the emergency. Can you please explain? Mr. Salem, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the purpose of the emergency is to get this contract set up and get it to OGC so that it can be signed and be effective October 1. Just to briefly describe this, many of you have heard me talk about our health insurance plan. We are using, as we will find out in our budget, $23 million to supplement what we are charging for health insurance from our employees and families versus what we are paying out as we are self-insured. The purpose of this bill is to hire the Bailey Group, which is the consultant for police and fire here locally, and they've made a world of difference with their plan. and I'm looking forward to dialogue with them to see what changes we can make to our own plan to close that gap of $23 million as we move forward. So the purpose of the emergency is to get this moving, essentially.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just commend my colleague. Fully support this. This thing is going to get worse and worse and worse year after year after year. We got to figure out what exactly is going on here in a way that doesn't absolutely destroy our employees, but at the same time doesn't create a burden that just gets bigger and bigger. This is the worst part of government because this isn't going away. We got to fix it. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Pittman.
To the chair, wanted to ask a question. Do we have to get more, once we start looking at the insurance, more than one insurance as we go forward? Are we just looking at the Baileys to do the oversight? Tell me a little bit more about what you were thinking.
Well, presently, Florida Blue is our provider that processes our claims. I think from some preliminary discussions, they're okay with Florida Blue, and I think Florida Blue is the provider for police and fire. It's more looking at the plan itself, co-pays, deductibles, the prescription plan in particular is one. I think there's possibly several $1 million in savings there that they can recommend back to us, and then we can present those recommendations to the administration. We can't change the plan. It's up to the administration to change the plan, but in my time on the council, the changes they have made have been little tweaks which have not substantially bent that curve of what we're paying each year.
And so when that happens, when we look at other insurance companies, when it comes to that, how does that happen if we like one part of the insurance and the other part we don't? So how does that?
Well, they're going to make recommendations back to us that we can evaluate.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I went out of order, but this is on the motion and second on the emergency. So with that being said, can we take a verbal vote on the emergency first before we actually take action on the conversation? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Emergency passes. And now we're going to motion and second on the amendment. Do we want to have conversation on the amendment now?
I'm finished. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Amendment passes.
Move the bill as an amendment as an emergency.
Bill has been motion and seconded as an emergency, and the amendment on the bill. Yep. Open the ballot and record your vote. Ashley, you are on the queue now, sir. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Now that we're on the bill, a couple things. First off, I work with the Bailey Group through my employer. I did explain that to the ethics department after laying out everything. They confirmed I do not have a voting conflict on this. Also, I will say that we have had good results by working with the Bailey Group, so I look forward to what they recommend, hopefully something fair to both the taxpayers as well as our employees. Councilmember Diamond mentioned it, but when I look at where my concerns are, especially from a Schedule B3 view, group health is one of them, and then our underlying assumptions on FRS conversion costs. To me, those are the two biggest concerns I have looking forward. If you look at the Schedule B3, I know it just came out yesterday, but even within there, we're only assuming 3% healthcare inflation, which I can tell you in my day job, I would love 3% healthcare inflation. So hopefully Bailey can provide some recommendations that'll still be hard choices to enact, but we just can't let this become the garbage fee where we ignore it for years and years, and then it's just more painful to correct once we decide we finally do. So I'll be supporting this, of course.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Salem.
I just wanted to mention through the chair, Travis Cummings from the Bailey Group is here today. If anyone had any questions from him, just in case, I asked him to come, but I think we're moving fine without him.
We're good. Yep. Nobody else in the queue. Open the ballot and record your vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0537 passes. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning of the agenda. I do have a second presentation. They're already here. I think Mr. Diebenau's here to present on the related group, and then we'll go back to the agenda. And you'll have 5 minutes, Mr. Diebenau, to present.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Steve Diebenau, 1 Independent Drive, Suite 1200. I was asked to come to the Finance Committee most recently by Councilman Carlucci. This project is in his district. I guess there was conversation earlier in this city council year, so maybe within the last 30 days, inquiring about the status of the project at the former River City Brewing Company property. So I just wanted to give a quick update on where we are and where we kind of move forward from here. The civil permits were submitted by Related on June 13th. And so we're waiting for final city comments on the civil plans. When they give us, they have time to respond, and then we have 30 days to respond to them. So we're on track to have the civil permits in final form here, I would say, in the next 30 days or so. Construction drawings, the 70% construction drawings were received on July 18th. Those are important because those are the plans that you actually put out to bid. There are two contractors that are looking at the project right now. They both have those 70% designs, and they are pricing, providing an estimate based on those drawings. Those updated bids from the contractors will happen probably late August, early September, something along those lines. And then 90% construction drawings are supposed to be completed the 1st of September. The 90% drawings are what you then move into permitting with. So we're targeting the end of September for filing for building permits. If you file for building permits at the end of September, then that means you start construction. Frankly, they'd be able to start civil site work as soon as those civil permits are done. But we have a requirement in the development agreement to start vertical construction by the end of the year, by December 31st. So we're on track to meet all of those deadlines in the agreement. Specifically, I think there was also a question about, and if it wasn't asked at the committee meeting, it's been asked outside the committee meeting. There was a question about when would the dollars that are included in this budget be required, or when would those be needed? The way that this agreement works is those dollars are supposed to be escrowed by the city the later of when we when we have our building permits, or October 1st. So it's the later of those two dates. So if we have all our building permits and everything's in order on October 1st, those dollars would be escrowed. If we don't have our building permits until October 15th, then the city would have a requirement to escrow the dollars by October 15th. And what that means is those dollars would be set aside. They're in an account. The city keeps the interest, and then they are allocated in accordance with the development agreement after the developer's money is all put into the project. So projecting forward, I don't know the exact time frame, but it would probably be sometime next year before any of those dollars would actually be drawn down. And we can do a more detailed schedule once we know when the permits are issued. Once we're getting closer to the fall, we're happy to come back and give you the exact projected schedule of when those dollars might be actually used. But once they're in escrow, the city keeps the money, the city keeps the interest on the money, and it's just being held there in accordance with the agreement so that it's available when after Related spends their money and invests it in the project.
Okay.
I think those are the two topics that I was asked to cover, but I'm happy to talk about anything else anyone else
And I think having a reoccurring meeting, especially with a status update, will be good for us to know that. But Mr. Layden, you're next. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. To Mr. Deebenow, just a couple of things to clarify. So I think it's a December 15th date for horizontal construction, not vertical. I think you said vertical, but meant horizontal, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so December 15th, and you're confident that y'all are going to start horizontal construction by December 15th?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a finish by everything date of April 30th, 2029. You're still confident on that date?
Yes, there's not, I don't believe there's any, there's provisions in there for force majeure and other delays. I don't think we've incurred any of those yet. Obviously, there's a ton of details surrounding the project in terms of what's going on behind the scenes. But yes, the short answer to your question is yes, we're on track for that.
Thank you. And through the chair of the committee, I think my line of questioning, we all had questions, I think, but this is a big chunk of money that we have to budget for this next year. So we just wanted the certainty that this truly is on track to happen. And through the chair to Ms. Taylor, my understanding, this was put in the budget as debt funded?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, so through the chair to the committee and Ms. Taylor, I don't remember specifically discussing that. I don't think I ever would have approved a debt-funded upfront cash incentive. I think that's like the combination of a lot of things I'm against. But my understanding, though, so we will still get the interest earned off of it, even though we're debt funding the incentive?
Through the chair, that's correct. You'll still earn interest when it's over in that account, but rather than having it funded through all your property tax, all your other revenues as a recurring revenue, the proposed budget has it as debt funded.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. To the committee, I think this should be something we discuss during the budget process because we're probably still going to be losing money. We're going to be paying more on our debt than what we're getting in interest on this escrow account. So I just want to make sure that at some point we discuss this and see if there's a better financial solution for that.
All right. Mr. Salem.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you, Mr. Down, for coming. I know I raised some of the concerns, and I'm glad you were here to clarify some of those points. Just to follow up Mr. Laney, which is the reason I grabbed the microphone, to my knowledge, in my 6 years on the council, we have never used debt to finance an economic development project. I believe this was done so there could be a claim we didn't use reserves in this budget. This is a horrible decision, and we need to correct it. Even if we have to use reserves to pay for it, we should never use debt to fund any economic development project. That is a path that we should never go down as a city. So thank you for bringing it up. It will be on top of my agenda. It's a terrible decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I just had one other thing.
Yes, sir,
I may
ahead.
have misspoke on exactly what happens. The trigger is actually the later of October 1st or the developer submitting its application for building permits. I may have said upon receipt of building permits, but it's actually the money gets escrowed either October 1st or the day we submit for building permits, whichever is later. Again, that's probably going to be a 30 or 45 day difference, but I just want to make sure that was on the record. And obviously when this is administered by the Office of General Counsel and the auditors and Public Works and all the folks that oversight on this agreement, we will be working in accordance with what the words are in the agreement.
Okay. I have Mr. Peterson, please.
Through the chair, just one quick question for Mr. Deebenow. I believe the date's November 1st in section 4.1C. Not that that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be budgeted, but...
So I'm looking on page 23 under section 7.2, and you're looking at 4.3?
C.
4.1C. Well, that's, yeah, correct. I'm sorry. We were talking about two different things. You're talking about the commencement date. I was talking about the escrow date for the completion grant. So the commencement of construction of horizontal shall start 120 days after the developer obtains building permits and December 15th, 2025, provided, however, that the December 15th, 2025 date and the date in section 4.1E2 below shall be extended for every day after November 1st that the city places the completion grant into escrow pursuant to 7.2 of the agreement. I guess those issues are actually linked together to accommodate if there's a delay in the amount being escrowed.
I may just reach out to you to...
Yes, what you're saying I agree with, but those two issues are intertwined between section 4.1 and section 7.2. It's a complicated agreement, but this is what happens. He's identified the issue. We'll work it out.
You guys will figure it out.
Yeah, we will figure out the appropriate time.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Well, I have nobody else on the queue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So now we're going back to the agenda. Going to page number 12, number 471, 2025-0471, and this will be Mr. Gaffney's bill. Can I get a motion and a second? Second. I have a motion and a second on the bill. Mr. Gaffney, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, it'll be brief. Pretty much, these are the enhancement funds. I'm appropriating $125,000 to list. They'll be doing micro grants. It's something similar to what we did, I think, like a year ago from the ARP funds. They'll pretty much just be provide oversight for these funds. What What else? What I'm missing? But yeah, so right now the funds is small businesses, anywhere from 10 to 20,000. If I can, Chair Aries, and thank you for allowing me to speak first. I'm not sure if I can offer an amendment from sitting on the side, not on finance, but I want to bring it down from 5,000 to 20, bring it from 10,000 to 5,000 if I can. Right now.
Unfortunately, you cannot.
Okay,
You'll have to have one of our council members do that.
Right.
But who's going to offer that amendment? All right, so we have a motion, a second now. All right, and I want to make sure that OGC got that. Mary, did you get that? And the auditors as well?
So through the chair, I believe what his intention is it would amend the term sheet where it addresses the extent of how much the grants can be that are regranted. So currently it says the regrant amounts will range from 10,000 to 20,000.
So it's just going out from 5,000 to 20,000. So that will allow more companies to apply for the grant.
So you would like the range to be 5,000 to 10,000?
5 to 20. Okay.
5,000 to 20,000.
That's fine.
So it would amend page 1 of the term sheet to reflect that the regrant amounts that they're authorized to give would be anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000.
Yeah, you explained it right.
Thank you,
right.
Mr. Gaffney.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to confirm, Mr. Peterson, this is the one we spoke about that was splitting the 250, and part of it is the CBA related. Now, this other part is still not CBA related, correct? Because it's still micro grants for businesses.
That's correct. Through the chair to the committee, this funding was put in the 24-25 budget for an affordable housing project with FOBT pipeline. Councilmember Gaffney has chosen to go a different route. We had counted that $250,000 towards meeting CBA obligations, so we'll reduce it by this, whatever the amount that you approve in this bill. And then Councilmember Gaffney, I believe, has intents to use the other 125 for an affordable housing related project.
Yeah, so just to echo it through the chair. So I do still plan to move forward with the affordable housing. Right now, FBOT, they are not ready to move forward. So, and these funds lapse October 1st. So I have to use these funds before October 1st, but I still plan to use the funding, the rest of the funding, to build 2 affordable houses in the district somewhere. So, but yeah, so we will have that $250,000 to go to CBA funding. Yep.
Mr. Peterson, when he said that the funding lapsed, is that accurate?
Through the chair, or to the chair, that is correct. So the funding was approved in the 24-25 budget. There was no language that carried those funds over into 25-26 upon budget approval. This bill carries those funds into next year, so these dollars won't lapse now. If he doesn't appropriate the other $125,000, it would lapse come October 1.
All right, thank you. I have Mr. Diamond on the queue.
Sorry, I just have to pipe up sometimes when I'm going to vote for something I would not normally vote for. I'd usually come out guns blazing on this, but I have a lot of faith in my colleague, Councilman Gaffney, and obviously this is important to him. So, and it's a relatively small amount of money, so I'll support it. But this isn't one I would normally get really excited about. So, congratulations, sir.
Hey, well, I definitely appreciate your support, Councilman Diamond.
All right, Ms. Pittman.
To the chair, also I support because it will allow you to help more businesses as well and have that flexibility from the 5,000 to 20,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And through the chair, keep in mind, this came from, like I say, from the ARP funding. We allocated, I think, $1 million to the list. A lot of constituents reached out to me and shared with me they didn't know about the $1 million, that they wasn't able to award it. So I just want to help out small businesses throughout Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good choice because they kind of got their hands on the pulse of who need those dollars as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Boots on the ground.
All right, so we are now going to take a verbal vote on the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Amendment passes.
Thank you. I was just going to remind everybody we need to move the bill again as amended. So.
Bill has been moved as amended. And with that being said, nobody on the queue, so we will record our votes. Open the ballot, please.
Six yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0471 passes. Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. All right, now we are going to page 25, number 41. We have Mr. Johnson. We have 3 pieces of action for you, so we're going to start with this one first. All right. Actually, no. Sorry, page number 8, number 15. My apologies, guys. Page number 8. Can I get a second on the bill? All right, we got a motion and a second on the bill. Mr. Johnson, would you like to explain, please?
These 3 bills, and I'm really here for questions only, these 3 bills are from strategic initiatives that were put in and voted on during last budget year. Unfortunately, 2 of the organizations that were put in through work with the General Counsel's Office and the Auditor's Office were not able to receive those funds, and so this is just a reallocation of those funds to the organizations. But I'll certainly take any questions.
Nobody in the queue? All right, so let's open up the ballot and record the vote.
Six yeas, 0 nays.
Your motion 2025-0466 passes. Going on to page 26. Sorry, I keep on doing that. Page number 10, number 17. Move the rules amendment. A motion and a second for the rules amendment. Thank you. All right. Mr. Peterson, please.
Yes, sir. Through the chair of the committee, the rules amendment is to authorize an amendment to the current agreement that the Girl Scouts have with KHA rather than executing a new agreement as was proposed.
Okay. And I see nobody in the queue. We need a verbal vote. So all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Rules amendment passes. Bill has been moved and seconded as amended. Nobody in the queue. So let's open up the ballot and record the vote.
Six yeas, 0 nays.
2025-0468 passes. Going on to page 11, number 18, neighborhood substitute. Got a motion and a second on neighborhood substitute. Nobody in the queue. Mr. Peterson, please.
Yes, sir. Through the chair to the committee, the neighborhood substitute ultimately just transfers this appropriation oversight to KHA. But as a result, we have to revise the account information within the bill, strike the waiver of 118-107 as that doesn't apply to KHA, and instead waive a section of KHA's ordinance code, amend the KHA's budget schedule, authorize KHA to execute the contract language, revise the oversight to KHA, and attach a revised BT and a term sheet to reflect KHA oversight.
Okay, nobody in the queue. Let's get a verbal vote on this one. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. And the neighborhood substitute passes. Bill has been moved and substituted. Second, open up your ballot, record your vote.
Six yeas, 0 nays.
And by your motion, 2025-0469 passes. Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to thank you for taking these up first. And I'd also, if you don't mind, if we could recognize the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta sorority are in the audience, specifically their president, Christina Stallings, and Ingrid Bethel. Thank you, ladies, and thanks for the great work you do in the Jacksonville community. And I have to also recognize that the councilwoman is a Delta as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's now go back to the start of the agenda, page number 2. Item number 1 is deferred. Number 2 is deferred. Number 3 is deferred. Number 4 is deferred. 5 is deferred. 6 is deferred. 7 is deferred. And going on to number 8 now. Motion a second on the amendment on the bill. And can we please get an explanation?
Through the chair of the committee, the amendment revises prior year appropriations towards the equestrian center due to a change in a prior bill, and then also includes the CIP sheet for the Palm Avenue improvements to reflect the reduction.
All right, thank you. Mr. White?
Just after you, excuse me, thank you, Chair. I just want to recognize, I want to thank Mr. Dr. Salem for this bill, and those who haven't visited the Equestrian Center, you should, to see the good things this money will do. And Mr. Tim Jones is out there from the Equestrian Center. So if anybody has not took a tour out there, you really ought to and see what's going on and what hasn't happened with the deferred maintenance. And thank you again, Mr. Salem.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Likewise, I want to commend my colleague, Councilman Salem. I mean, look, this money was just sitting there. And, you know, a lot of people were critical of Doge and like, oh, this is just political. This isn't political. This is money that would have gone to some garbage program or just would have sat in some account. Instead, it's going to do something great in Councilman White's district. So this is a huge win for Jacksonville, and congratulations, sir. This is not just politics. This is a result, a real one that matters.
Okay, is this on the amendment or the bill? On the bill. All right, so all in favor, we need to take a verbal. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. All right. Bill has been moved and amended. All right, Mr. Salem.
Thank you, Chair. Just as a reminder, this is part of the $25 million that the Doge Committee identified that had been not touched, dormant for 18 months. And this is the third bill where we've put this money to work. You might recall we put it towards a fire station. We paid for the lifeguard station at the beaches, and this is the third one we've put to work here at the Equestrian Center. So and we will continue to put that money to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman.
Thank you, Chair. And through the chair to the committee, again, applaud Councilmember Salem's efforts on this. I said before, though, as we find more of this money, I do hope that we see some of the money going to either pay-go against already approved capital projects or back to the general fund. So, again, it's good that we're finding things that are true needs, but I'm just hoping we find enough money to where we can start building up the reserves and reduce our future debt expense by applying it directly towards already approved capital projects.
That's right. All right, nobody else on the queue. Please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0456 passes. Moving on to number 9, 2025-0457. That's deferred. Number 10, 2025-0458. Got a motion, a second on the bill. Nobody on the queue. Let's open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you. By your motion, 2025-0458 passes. All right, number 11, 2025-0459. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Nobody on the queue. Let's open up the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0459 passes. All right, number 12, 2025-0462. Got a motion and a second. Nobody in the queue. Open up your ballot and record your vote. I did ask a question earlier during the pre-agenda, but I just don't understand. Why is this on finance specifically?
Through the chair to the committee, Councilmember Salem, just what I was going to say. The bills are assigned by the rules chair and then ultimately approved by Council President. I can't speak to the
Is there any financial
specifics.
implications to this? I want to give it to you. Okay, all right, well, let's open up the ballot, record your vote then, if that's the case.
Now there's probably some.
Yeah.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
All right, by your motion, 2025-0462 passes. Going on to 2025-0463. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Auditors, please explain it.
Through the chair of the committee, the amendment just revises the language from being a trust fund to a special revenue fund, as these dollars won't be held in what we think of as a trust, and it has a specific purpose. So just revising the language.
Okay, Mr. Diamond on the amendment or the bill? All right, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Amendment passes. Bill's moved and second as amended. Sorry, Mr. Diamond, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe somebody on the committee or auditors or somebody can explain this to me. I'm a co-introducer of this, big fan, but I saw something else in the budget of like another veteran center. So is there any discussion about these two things happening at the same time? Because it seems a little silly to me. And I want to support veterans, but one of these has got to lose.
Okay, Mr. Lehman, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So I was going to ask that question through the chair to the administration. This will be I got two things to say, but I noticed the exact same thing. There's $1 million item called Jacksonville Urban League Community and Veterans Empowerment Center that I know nothing about. So myself, Councilmember Miller, Councilmember Howland, and a few others. We've been working very specifically with Mr. Conyers and his team on this potential military and veterans family resource center. And then I saw this. I didn't see this till last night, this line item for $1 million for a community veterans empowerment center. I just have lots of questions. What is this? And is this completely different, or is this $1 million to go towards the Veterans Center we've been talking about? So I just got thrown off by the words Jack's Urban League and then Veterans Empowerment Center, because I'm concerned we're either duplicating efforts or we've been working on one thing with the administration and now there's something else coming up.
Through the chair to Councilman Lane, and these are two separate things. The trust fund here is specifically to build a City of Jacksonville Veterans Center that would be managed by our Military Affairs Division. The line item that you're referencing is to a third party, the Urban League, in building a community center and veterans center.
So, okay, so I'm sure we'll talk about this, but that's the first time I've heard of, we're trying hard enough to get one veterans center. I don't see why we would be working on getting two veterans center. And again, I'll save that for Thursday. Talking on this specific bill now, so this is setting up a fund to where whether it's public or private, we can put funding in here because, again, we're not planning on using taxpayer dollars to build all of this. I'm sure it'll be a part of that. So that's setting up this fund. I'll be filing legislation to put a little over $500,000, I believe. I had a project in District 3 that came in under budget, actually the second under budget finished project in District 3, and that's going to be used as seed money to start looking at some of the conceptual design, location, all that stuff for this. So we wanted to set up the fund first, which was Councilmember Miller's bill, and then you're going to see my bill coming in a few weeks. That'll give the first money into this, and hopefully we also get some perhaps some private donations or other corporate donors down the road to set up this Veterans Center. But just know that I'm going to have a lot of questions when we start talking about this other Veterans Empowerment Center that I think is completely delinked from some of the work that we've been doing up here on council.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Pittman.
To the chair and to my colleagues, I just want to say I know a couple of years ago that the Urban League, and you might remember this, where they were also in the process of raising money before they came back here. So they might be coming back. I know it's in District 7, if I'm not mistaken, where they're trying to build this in the historical Durkeeville area. So yes, so I just don't want to just put all of the money in one bag until we hear what this project is and how much they've raised to date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, please. All right. And Mr. Holland, go ahead. Yep, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say we just be mindful that it's a contentious subject we're wading into as we think about veteran centers, because we have had 3 different efforts over the last 5 years for veteran centers. One by the Urban League to be in South Durkeeville, another by a Vietnam veterans group that is advocating and advocated to the mayor during the transition planning. And then third, there was a big nonprofit out of Texas that actually did a study here on where veterans were not receiving proper benefits and where they were not getting referred to proper services. And they were talking about opening a veteran center and raising money to do it, called Endeavors. And that opportunity probably is potentially still on the table. So there's 3 different ways to do it here. It doesn't always have to be taxpayer money, and a lot of it, as Councilman Lane said, could be privately funded. Just wanted to note that. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Nobody else on the queue. Please. Are we ready to open the ballot and record your vote? Yeah, thank you. All right, open the ballot. Thank you.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0463 passes. Moving on to number 14, 2025-0465. We have rules amendment on this one. Got a motion, a second. Mr. Peterson?
Through the chair of the committee, the rules amendment would strike the requirement that the department invoice the neighborhood applicant for costs associated with mailed notices prior to obtaining the 75% requirement to proceed with the project. So that mailing or the invoicing would occur after they've obtained that 75% approval. And then there are a Section 2 correction title as it relates to ordinance code references.
Nobody in the queue. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. Amendment passes. And all right. Nobody else in the queue, please open up your ballot and record your vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0465 passes. Going on now to the next page, we already did number 15. Going on to page number 9, which will be 2025-0467. We have an amendment. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Mr. Peterson, go ahead.
Through the chair of the committee, the amendment would update the total outstanding lien balance to $36,483.32, and that was as of July 31st. Corrects the number of nuisance liens to 16, corrects the oversight department listed in the bill title to the neighborhoods, attaches a revised Exhibit 5, which is the list of liens to reflect those updated balances, and the revised Exhibit 6 to reflect the updated lien balance, and revising language to reflect that this is an after-the-fact approval of a lien abatement.
Nobody in the queue, but I do have some questions regarding this. Is this a standard process that we just give people back their fees for not paying the fees, or what's going on with this?
Through the chair to the committee, so the city has a process whereby if there are nuisance and demolition liens for your property, you can have those liens reduced if you make certain improvements. And so the process is for the first $30,000 you spend, the city will reduce the lien by $1 for every $5 you spend. After you've spent $30,000, it's a $1 for every $2 spent reduction. Normally, City Council doesn't see those. You've approved, or prior councils have approved that process, and this one was done after the fact. So because the city doesn't have a process for an after-the-fact improvement, it requires council to weigh in on it. We see these probably about once every 2 years, an instance where it's someone seeking an after-the-fact improvement.
So I will get to you now, Joe, on this part. But so because it was after the fact, I mean, did they not know the process and how this works? I mean, when was the last time this was done? You said 10 years ago, possibly? And what was the outcome of that?
Oh, no, through the chair to the committee, I don't have the reason why they didn't seek approval prior. I don't know if they were not aware or if they thought it was in place. I can't speak to that. I don't know if anyone, Ms. Pollock, may have the reason for that. But we have seen these before. I can think of one about 2 or 3 years ago that came to the council, and I don't remember if it was under this new council's term or not. But we do see these occasionally. I can think of another one about 6 or 7 years ago where I worked with a council member on it. It's not the norm, but it's not precedent setting.
Okay. Mr. Carlucci.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to highlight the fact that, and again, hopefully the bill sponsor doesn't think I'm picking on him, but this is why generally when someone introduces a bill, they need to be here, because then it's left for staff to carry the bill through the committees. So in neighborhoods last year, we just started to defer everything. If you're there, I mean, personally, when I introduce bills, I go to every single committee, and it's a lot of work, and I feel like that needs to be the standard going forward, personally. So I guess I'll support it if we vote on it, but I would support a deferral just because I think the council member needs to be here who's introducing this bill.
Is Ms. Pollock here? Ma'am, if you don't mind, please come in up here and state your name and address and talk to us.
Good afternoon, Cherry Pollock.
And can we put 2 minutes on her time, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cherry Pollock, Office of General Counsel.
Okay. All right. Well, so you have nothing to say on this, I guess, to defend the reason why this is going to be abated, I guess?
Mr. Chair, so that's not the Office of General Counsel's role. Ms. Pollock prepared the legislation at Mr. Peluso's request. So she's here. She can answer questions about the process, the legal nature of the settlement, et cetera. But it's not her responsibility as the Office of General Counsel to advocate or defend for the bill.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Pollock.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. I agree with my colleague here. Yesterday, I had to show up to some committees to actually talk about my bill. I'm in the same position right now. Unless anybody else is opposed, I will defer this on my end. Thank you. Yes, one cycle. All right, moving on to, we're skipping number 17, we already did it. We're skipping 18, we already did it. Number 19, 2025-0471, we already did that one as well. Number 20 is being deferred. 2025-0472 is deferred. 2025-0473 is deferred. Going on to number 22, 2025-0474. We have a motion and a second. Phil, please explain it.
Through the chair to the committee, this bill authorizes the JHFA to issue multifamily housing bonds for the construction of approximately 120 units of multifamily residential housing. You did approve this exact project at this exact dollar amount a little over a year ago, but because the notices are only good for a year, they restructured their financing and therefore they had to come back to you for approval again.
Okay. All right. Nobody in the, oh, we have Mr. Diamond on the queue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anytime these public interest bonds come up, I always say the same thing. This is not city money. We're a pass-through with public interest bonds. You need some sort of municipal entity to stamp them and say, yes, this is actually happening. And so that's why I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salem?
I just want to reiterate to the Finance Committee, this is $23 million being spent for affordable housing. So as we get into the budget process over the next 3 weeks and we hear comments about affordable housing, which is very important, here's $23 million going to affordable housing, federal money. Thank you.
Sir, federal money, meaning we cannot use that for CBA, correct?
Right. Through the chair to council, or to the chair, that's correct. It has to be city funds.
Make sure. Right. All right. Nobody else in the queue, so open up the ballot and record your vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Worth a shot. All right. Number 23, 2025-0482. I have a motion and a second on the bill. Motion. Second. Anyone in the queue? Nobody's on the queue. Open up the ballot, record your vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right. By your motion, 2025-0482 passes. Going on to page, I want to say 25, number 41. We already, no, actually, we have not done this one yet. So we have an emergency on this one. We have a motion and second on emergency. Nobody in the queue for this. All in favor of the emergency? On the emergency or the bill? On the bill. All in favor of the emergency, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Emergency passes. And now we have a motion and second on the amendment. On the amendment, Mr. Salem, or on the bill? Bill. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Belay my last. Mr. Peterson.
Through the chair of the committee, just technical correction, getting account codes correct in the BT.
All right. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Amendment passes.
Move the bill as amended as an emergency.
Bill has been moved as amended as emergency. It's been seconded. I do have Mr. Salem on the queue.
Thank you, Chair. Just to remind y'all, I appropriated $8 million out of the reserves as a part of the land swap, if you recall. The auditors, I give them credit because I had forgotten about it. They said you need to move that $8 million back from DIA to our reserve account before they spend it. So thanks to them, this bill, this $8 million is going back into our reserve account.
Thank you. So it's safe to say that we're putting money into the reserves is what we're doing. We're not spending it, right? Good job. Good job, sir. All right, Mr. Lenin.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to the auditors, I know that Councilmember Howland had a similar bill to where we moved money that was just sitting there in DIA. I think y'all are going to further scrub just to make sure there was nothing out there that had been appropriated on something that had fallen through. Just want to ask that question again.
Through the chair to Councilmember Lane, yes, I looked into that, and outside of this bill, Councilmember Howland's bill, and then the work of Doge, I was unable to come up with anything else. Ms. Taylor and Mr. Parks are working on other requests of specific council members as it relates to various contingencies, but I think that fell outside of your initial request from last time.
Through the chair, thank you, Mr. Peterson.
All right, thank you. I see nobody else on the queue. Please open up the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0530 passes. I do want to recognize Councilmember Peluso is in the house. Right on time too, sir. So let's go back to page number 9. Number 16, 2025-0467. So we are going to, I guess, reopen this one and do the whole process again, normal process. We have a motion and a second on the amendment, and auditors already explained it. Nobody in the queue. Mr. Peluso, go ahead. On the amendment or on the bill?
I'll speak on the bill. I heard there were questions.
So let's all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Amendment passes. Mr. Peluso, bill's been moved and amended. Go ahead. All right.
We are on the bill?
Yes.
No, I heard there were questions about this particular bill. I know it's already gone through, was it 2 other committees? So I just kind of want to hear what the thoughts are on this.
Well, I guess my initial question is, why are we making this kind of exception for somebody that already did this after the fact? My second question is, who is the entity or who's requesting this? Do they not know the process of what's happening? Because, I mean, this should be a simple, if this is what you want to do, there's a process for things. You don't just come after the fact. So who is it that's doing this?
Thank you. Through the chair, or to the chair. So this is Lipjacks, who built this home. And so it was their property, and they built the home, sold the home. Once the home was sold, and now in the name of the new owner, which is Mr. Jameson, the program says, all right, whoever gets the home and builds it is able to remove the nuisance liens. So once it was sold, now it's in now there's a new owner of it. That's why, okay, so the person who built or the group that built the home is supposed to get the nuisance removed, but now that it's transferred over to somebody else, now we got to change it so that it's, okay, the current owner, so that he's not getting hit with these nuisance liens when what they wanted to do was take this parcel that was blighted and build a beautiful home, which now they have. So it's an error that was done because they sold the home without getting the liens removed. So we're just doing it after the fact.
And I guess that's my biggest concern is the fact that the people that are involved in this are people that should know the process. I mean, you mentioned Lipjacks, you mentioned Mr. Rudy Jameson. These are people that should know how this process works. So where was the ball dropped? Was it Lipjacks? They dropped the ball, or who?
This was one of their first properties that they did this with, so it was a relatively new program to them, and I think just it was based on the closing or the time of the closing. I think the expectation was that these liens would be removed by then. We actually did this with TerraWise a couple months back. We had another issue with them. We were able to delay that closing because TerraWise needed to change it. So we were able to do it. It was about 3 or 4 months ago that we were able to get that pushed through. But this one, the house was transferred over to Mr. Jameson, and now it's just...
When you say we, who's we?
I said, my office, we ran a bill for TerraWise because they were trying to get liens removed on a home, but they had to change the name of the entity because they transferred the home over. And so we've seen stuff like this happen before. The process is a little bit dated. It needs changes. So it is a little bit of a...
And I'll get to you now, Mr. Holland. But the thing is, when we sit at LUZ, we see these also come through, not in this particular manner, but there's a reason why there are fees, right? And if we constantly waive all these fees, then what's the point of even having fees?
Well, the purpose of those fees was to make sure that the bad actor was getting hit with all these nuisance liens. Once it's transferred into the home into the homeowner, once the property is transferred over to somebody who could actually take this blighted property and do something great with it, we as a policy body years ago wanted to make sure, okay, like that's good. We want people to take these properties on, do something good with them, and as a way for the city to thank them for that, they remove the liens. And we've had that policy. It's been in our repertoire for a while.
The word bad actor. Who was the bad actor then? Was it Mr. Jameson or was it the previous one? Was it Lipjacks?
Much. It was a private landowner who owned that property, and eventually it came to a place where they had to bulldoze the property, and now it's a vacant lot. And especially it was during the post 08-09 kind of crisis, the city took on a ton of properties. And so I think it was towards the end of the Alvin Brown administration into the Curry administration where they were trying to give as many people these properties as possible so it's not on the city's rolls. And so a lot of them happened to be in Springfield, East Side, kind of Durkeeville, and north all the way to Moncrief. So a lot of properties were taken on by the city, and the city was finding ways to get rid of them. So the person who incurred these fines, I don't know who they are. It could have been done in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but after the 08-09 crisis, the city took on a lot of these properties and foreclosed.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Howland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I want to say that Dr. Rudy Jameson is a good actor, not a bad actor. We have that now on record, Rudy, so we're good. I didn't actually know what area we were talking about till you mentioned Rudy, because that is an initiative that was started by LiftJack several years ago. There's about 4 or 5 other properties as you get to devs. Are all of these going to have similar reclaimed nuisance fees that we'll have to deal with?
No.
I imagine.
No, the transfer was for Mr. Jameson. There's a couple of other properties that LiftJax is working with Eastside CDC, and they've had to create a new entity. So we are going to see a bill similar to this involving the Eastside neighborhoods, but those properties haven't been sold or transferred to anyone else yet. But the new entity that's going to do the work is we're going to have to allow for them to we're going to run a bill to make sure that those liens are waived.
Yeah,
Before
fantastic.
they're transferred.
Yep.
Exactly. Perfect.
All right, good initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you for the explanation on that. We're ready to open up the ballot, record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
All right, by your motion, 2025-0467 passes. Thank you, sir. All right, going on to the last emergency, and then we have a couple deferrals that I got to read out. So the last emergency will be on page 29, which will be 2025-0535.
Mr. Chair, just to remind you, you also still have item number 42 on page 26 to act on.
Okay.
So just if you want to go back to that one after this one.
Sure. Yeah. Trying to finish up with the emergencies, but yep. All right. We have a motion and a second on emergency. Mr. Peterson, please explain it.
Yes, sir. The nature of the emergency is that the parties are requesting this agreement as a condition to fund the project under their credit agreement, and any delay in execution may delay the stadium project as a whole.
Okay. I have nobody on the queue for this one, so let's vote on the emergency first of all. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Emergency passes, and nobody in the queue, so let's move the bill as an emergency. Second. Bill has moved and second as emergency. Open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0535 passes. And now going on to page 26, number 42, 2025-0531. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Mr. Peterson.
Through the chair of the committee, the amendment will attach a revised economic development agreement to adjust the commencement of construction date, the completion of construction date, correct a reference to the 200 new jobs that will be created, include a specific default that if the company fails to create at least 10 jobs by December 31st of 28, it will result in a termination of the REF grant, and they will have to repay any amounts previously paid to them. There's scriveners in the agreement that need to be corrected, and then scriveners in the bill as well.
Nobody else on the queue. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Amendment passes. Bill has been moved and second as amendment. And I have Mr. Lin on the bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say we're ending on a high note here. We started the meeting talking about a debt-funded, upfront $39 million cash incentive. And here we have the OEDs on a great streak of no taxpayer dollar incentives, rev-only grants, nearly a 4.0 ROI here. So just want to say good job to Mr. Randolph and his team on that, because, again, kind of switching to budget mode here. If you look at the Schedule B3 for next year, the initial projection is a $70 million deficit, and almost $50 million of that are completion grants still that we got to work through the system. So like I said, one of the best ways going forward to give ourselves more financial freedom in the outer years is saying no to cash completion grants and finding economic deals like this that Mr. Randolph has been able to bring to us again.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond.
Ditto.
Perfect. All right. Nobody else in the queue. Open up the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your motion, 2025-0531 passes. And we're going to page 15. The following are on the second. 2025-0501, 0502, 0503, 0504, 0505, 0506, 0507, 0508, 0509, 0510, 0511, 0512, 0513, 0514, 0522, 0528, 0529, 0532, 0533, 0534, 0538, 0539, 0557, and that adjourns and completes our Finance Committee meeting. Thank you, guys.
This one did.